Good morning. I hope everyone's out there selling houses right now because nobody's here, are they? They're sleeping in or they're doing something. I got a couple quick quotes. Warren Buffett. Scott needs to listen to this one for sure. An idiot with a plan can beat a genius without a plan, right? Why do you think Ralph's doing so damn good? An idiot with a plan can beat a genius without a plan, Warren Buffett, right? It doesn't matter how smart you are. If you don't have a plan, you're not going to get there. I love this. 10 skills that require zero talent. 10 skills that require zero talent. We'll send this out. Being on time, zero. Yeah, attorneys. We didn't say professions. Car salespeople, attorneys, and real estate agents. Being on time, work ethic, putting in effort, being positive, being passionate, being teachable, being prepared, doing extra, being supportive, and being kind. Right? You don't have to be born with a skill set to accomplish and do those things. But if you do those things, it really goes into that quote. You're going to be successful. So, Brooke, did you or Christy, who picked out our video for the day?
Christy sent it.
All right. I love this.
I have a lot of memories from when I was a child. One that's always stuck out to me, though, was when I was about 10 years old, and I was in school, and I struggled. And I didn't struggle with English, math, or science. I struggled holding still. And I would try to listen and focus and process ideas, but I couldn't help myself. And to be honest, I would sit there and then I would just start tapping. And the students in the class would look at me and they'd say, "Hey, stop tapping." A lot of the time, I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then eventually even the teachers got after me and they would yell at me and they'd say, "Clint, you have to stop tapping." It got so bad that I got sent to the principal's office for tapping. And he said to me, "Okay, maybe when you go back to class, just try sitting on your hands." And so I did. I went back to class, and when I felt myself starting to tap, I did this. I sat on my hands. And that worked for about 5 seconds. One time I was tapping in class, and my teacher, Mr. Jensen, he looked at me and he yelled. And he said, "Clint, stay after class." And I thought to myself, this is it. I am done. Now, I've always been the type of person that believes that a single moment in time can change a person's life. And this was one of those moments for me. And I will never forget it. And so I was sitting there with Mr. Jensen and an empty classroom. And he walked past me and he sat next to his desk and he said, "Clint, come here. I want to talk to you." And as he looked me right in the eye, he said, "Now, I need you to know something. You're not in trouble. But I do have just one question that I have to ask you." And he said, "Have you ever thought about playing the drums?" And in that moment, Mr. Jensen, he leaned back and he opened the top drawer of his desk. And he reached in and he pulled out my very first pair of drumsticks. And he held them in his hands and he looked at me and he said, "Hey, Clint, you're not a problem. I think you're a drummer." From that moment on, I've never put those sticks down. I've toured, recorded, and played drums all over the world. My whole college education was paid for with drumsticks in my hand. Just because of a single moment in time when somebody believed in me. And he saw something in me that I didn't even see within myself. And from that moment, I learned that there's a difference between being the best in the world and being the best for the world.
Is that cool? We always talk about that. You know, we really need to be the unique individuals we are, right? Figure out our strengths. And I always say, I think the best coaches in the world really look at an individual and say, what's on one's weaknesses and what's one's strengths? And how do they find based on that unique individual they are, what are their strengths, and they build upon that. Because greatness is always achieved out of building upon one's strengths. It's not really focusing on one's weaknesses. So I thought that was a very cool video when I saw that. So great job, Christy. I appreciate it. We're going to run through a couple things with all 12 of you here today, and I appreciate you guys waking up and coming in here. If you see any of your friends in the real estate business, tell them that we'd like to have them attend sales meeting in the future. Is Tabitha and Maggie, or Tabitha or Maggie? Who's going to do it? Both of you? Yeah. Come on up here. We're going to talk about AdWorks. And then we're going to dive into what Rachel is going to share with us from our Rethink Council last week. We had, I thought, a very, very productive meeting. So it's actually too bad because I think there's a lot of good takeaways. But one of the things that we heard probably from the first 5 or 6 people presenting was, I'm using AdWorks, I'm using AdWorks, I'm using AdWorks. So I started texting on the phone. I'm like, okay, why do we not have more people using AdWorks? And I think, Ralph, I think you said in one of our mastermind group meetings, you're actually using AdWorks, correct? Anyone else in this room using AdWorks today? Literally 3 of you. Okay. So I will tell you, in our mastermind group of 15, the majority of them are using AdWorks?
At least half.
At least half. And they swear by it and they love it. So I guess before we start, the 3 of you that are using it, can you tell anything you found from it? Why are you using it?
I like it because the client feels like you're spending a bunch of money that you're not.
And you're doing a lot of things. They feel like you're doing a lot of things for them.
Says your ad was on ESPN today, or your ad was on NBC today, and they're like, I had one guy said, I hope, don't be spending so much money on this. I can't get your house. So, I mean, they really, it's very impressive from a...
It's very powerful. So Ralph said it looks like, the reason he's using it is because it looks like his clients think he's doing a lot of things because it's so powerful. And he says, it looks like you're on ESPN and it attracts to these things. So it really gives you crazy visibility.
I'm just doing a basic plan in one zip code where my business card pops up on a random schedule, I guess. I'm not deeply involved in it like everybody.
I had a last person here. Yes.
When I do it, a lot of people just think that I'm killing it in the market. It's funny.
It's just the visibility.
Yeah.
They think I'm killing it in the market. I'm so visible.
So when they click on it, they see it, it follows them.
Is that a call from AdWorks? I just saw you on ESPN. Scott, take care of that man's work.
Seller placation.
Seller placation? Hey, listen, you're not Alan Dalton. We use small words around here, okay? I had to ask the other day how to spell egg. Shannon's like, I hope you're shitting me. It's 3 letters. Oh, it's 2 letters. It is 2 letters. Unless you have eggs with an S.
I had to use it, at Alliance I used it because it didn't have the brand. So I've been using it for a couple of years because of that reason.
Got it. Thank you. Ladies, walk away, and then I want to even talk about us getting someone from AdWorks themselves to come in to do a class on this, because it was amazing to me when we were looking at the crazy successful agents sitting around the table and how many of them swore by this. And there's a cost associated with it, but I would tell you in our meetings, and I'll be meeting with later today, where's Jay Lacey? Jay Lacey's nervous. I'm taking him to our CEO meeting, and every day he's like, what do I got to do? What do I got to say? I'm like, don't. I said, if you're going to act like an idiot, tell them you got a plan. And if they think I'm an idiot, tell them I got a plan. But I know that when we were in our meeting in Vegas, Chris was rolling this out. They spent millions of dollars, a lot of money on this, subsidizing getting this to us, even though there's a cost to this. And they won't continue to do this if we don't embrace this. And I'm talking to a number of brokers that are starting to embrace this. So I really want us to get on board with this because it sounds like a very powerful tool. Ladies, run away.
So if you've had a listing since May 1st, that listing has automatically been advertised on AdWorks. So whether or not you are actively using it for the first week of the listing, it will automatically run. And I grabbed an ad from Kimberly Cookland. So this was a new listing. It hit on Saturday. And then it shows, when you log into your AdWorks dashboard, it'll show you the views and the impressions and things like that. So regardless of whether or not you're buying more, the first week of the listing or so, you automatically have exposure on AdWorks. And in their portal, you can sign up the sellers to get a report. And so maybe that's where Ralph's talking about is sellers see that they're doing a lot of advertising, and it does. It displays on CNN, ESPN, various other websites. I've seen it on like Deadspin and things like that. It's just advertising that specific property. So that's like one option of about 4. So you can actually go in and you can extend the listing. So you can run that listing longer. You can buy zip codes. So if you wanted to buy 68135, your personal branded ad would show up in 68135, and that's for people's cell phones, desktop computers, things like that. And then you can also upload a list of your sphere, and then all of your friends and family are constantly reminded that you're in real estate, and you've just targeted them with their email address. And the program itself is smart enough to go out and find out that mwiegert@gmail.com is associated to my phone, and let's say maybe Rachel has me on her list. So now I start to see ads for Rachel simply because she had my email address and loaded it into this platform. So that's kind of a very high-level overview.
Yeah,
I don't know if you were thinking or not.
Is this on? So as Maggie was saying, there are basically 4 levels to it. There's sphere. You upload your sphere of influence, and then they see that ad about once per day. So it's keeping you top of mind. There's brand awareness, which is the zip codes. You purchase a zip code or a couple based on your area of preference. And then based on people who are looking at moving companies or going to Zillow or Trulia or using a mortgage calculator, your ad will run right in front of those no matter where they are or what they're doing or what they're researching. Ads for sellers, like Maggie was saying, the ads that will appear, so your seller will be on ESPN or whatever, and then your ad specifically for that listing is going to appear in front of them. And the other is retargeting. So if you happen to Google your realtor, or your seller happens to Google your realtor, that ad is going to follow you. Basically follow you around, like if you're searching for a bra on Amazon and then you go over to ESPN and then that bra follows you.
I was going to say shoes.
Concept. Shoes, bra, whatever, and then it follows you over. So it's actually it's very worthwhile.
Freeze that.
And it's through Resource Center, correct?
Yeah, so you log into the Resource Center, and I learned something in the AdWorks training. So there's these 3 magic, not 3, they're like 6 little magic dots in the corner of the Resource Center. When you click on that, it's all these other programs that are basically plugins to the Resource Center. So there's one for AdWorks. It's automatically linked to your account, and you can go in and see anything that you have that's ran that is successful.
I was trying to freeze that page.
Should we go
Yep.
here?
Yeah, so it's there, the app launcher, AdWorks. Now, if Vince doesn't have any active listings, nothing's going to appear. But you can click in there.
So there's costs associated with different levels of this.
Yep.
Can you talk through some of that stuff?
It's based on zip code, really, for the most part, and for sphere, depending on how many people you're going to upload and how many ads you want running in front of them. But I've seen prices as low as $40 per month for a zip code. So it can be expensive if you buy 4 or 5 different zip codes, but to give it a try for one zip code to see how that fares, I think is a really...
Dave, how much, you've been doing this for years, how much are you paying?
What I do is I'll do a 5-week campaign because it's cheaper the longer you go out.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dave's saying for those of you in the back, we'll do a 5-week campaign, and because the more you do, the longer you go, the cheaper it is.
Yes, and then the minute it goes pending, I cancel that campaign, and then it rolls into the next.
So you do a campaign always based on one listing for a certain area for a certain period of time.
Go 5 weeks out, cancel it immediately, or even when I get like, okay, this thing's gonna go pending, and then I cancel it. That way I can take that, $200 and roll it into the next.
So you basically, so if you cancel it, then you have a credit setting there to go towards the next house? Okay.
And if it sells quick, then you're.
So do a 5-week campaign, cancel it a week and a half into it if it's sold, then you're set.
No, when it goes pending.
When it goes pending, well, I apologize. Cancel a week and a half into it if it goes pending, then you're sitting there with a credit to go apply towards your next 5-week campaign.
Drag that out for a long time as long as you price it right.
Ralph, how are you buying this?
Pretty much the same way. We're doing it in our new listings. and it's a great exposure right away. And there's a Nico came up that I don't know, is he in here?
Nico must be in bed if the other 900 agents we have.
He'll be in bed. But we show them in our listing presentation. These are some of the areas we're going to be marketing your home, and it's so impressive. It's like, wow, how does this work? And then we explain it to them, and then we don't talk about cost, but it's not costing that much.
Right.
It really isn't, and I want to say it's less than $100 a listing. And I mean, when you look at the big picture.
So guys, talk about this, and we'll talk a little bit probably about this today, Concierge Services. We've been talking about what are things that we can do that add value, right, to our sellers. And something like this gives you way more bang for your buck that justifies the amount of money that getting this 6, right? Remember, we're fighting this battle. The number one battle I believe we're fighting is the downward pressure on commissions. But to do something like this, where they're seeing you exposed everywhere, justifies getting this commission that we're trying to hold up still.
And the cool thing is if you're on a team, if you have team branding and things like that, they build a base ad for you, and then you can go in and edit it. So you can make it look how you want. You can upload your own graphics if you wanted to. And then if you're just buying a zip code and you're advertising yourself, if you buy that, you'd probably want to give that about 3 months to gain some traction. And that's where that's where you found the shoes on Zappos, and it follows you till you finally buy those pair of basics that arrived today.
Anything else, ladies?
No,
Can we get someone in here maybe, and let's get a big group to come in here and listen to him and see if we can get some buy-in to this, because it seems to be a very powerful tool, and I'd hate us to lose some of our pricing, because my understanding is we're getting some discounts because of the relationship with Berkshire Hathaway on this.
Yep.
So, any questions, guys? Yes?
Can you explain how the new listing is automatically put in by AdWorks
Sure.
initially?
So there's a data feed from the MLS. It takes about 36 hours for that data to come over and it's a computer program, for the program to build the ad. After that, it's available in your dashboard where you can go in and it might be live at the time, but you can go in and edit it. So it's pulling in bullet points, it's pulling in price, the main photo. If you needed to edit it from there, you can. But it's about 36 hours from the time it hits MLS to the time that it's available in that dashboard and advertising starts. You should go in and add your seller's email address to each one of the listings so that the seller then gets the report with the activity that's happening.
And they notify you too that the seller just got it. They send you an email, your seller just received this, so you can see what they're getting.
So Maggie, that piece is free?
Yep.
Okay.
And then once you add on additional weeks, or once you want to advertise like to a zip code or something like that, that's where the cost comes in. So.
Can you do custom ads on that, or is that just listings?
No, you can do totally custom ads.
Cool? Nico texts me that he's not in bed, he's in the back. All right, I'm going to run through a couple things real quick. Regency update. The Regency office is looking really, really cool. Have we set our next grill out? I want to be at the Regency office in the parking lot so we can kind of do an open there, maybe a 4 to 7 or something like that. So let's get a date on that sometime in July here in the next week. The office, I think, looks very cool, very modern. So we're excited about getting everyone moved down there between this Thursday and next Tuesday, basically. We're going to get everyone in there, but basically the desk, the cubes, it's being cleaned right now as we talk. So stop down there if you have a chance. My understanding is John here right now. John, SEI tomorrow, is my schedule right on that? We'll be getting the fob on there. Okay, so my understanding over the next 2 days, SEI will be getting a fob. So, and Brian, we already have the fob. So Sarpy, Regency, as of the end of this week, and here, the same fob that will get us into all the buildings. We've been jerking around with Minneapolis for a while on trying to get our Council Bluffs lease re-signed. We verbally have agreed to everything. We're waiting for paperwork. We will actually get the fob over there. So all 4 of those offices here in the near future, you'll be able to pop into any of those, use your fob, use it on the copiers, and they're all going to be one universal thing. Maggie, before you left real quick, but copiers, we are getting all 100% brand new copies. We had to go back and forth. I had some struggles with this. But at the end of the day, we're going to get new copiers. We're going to get Sharps. which are going to run substantially faster. They're going to be faster, sturdier, better machines than what we currently have. So everywhere there's a copy, and those will all be hooked up to the fobs also. And our target date on that is the first week of July. Is that correct? Throughout the month of July, we're going to be replacing all of those. So Regency will have those in place this next week, and then we'll start getting all the rest of those in there. Sarpy office, we are moving forward on that. That had an August 1st target date. The truth of the matter is it's probably got an October 1st target date. Did you have a question?
Are we going to have a different office ID number for them?
Yes, so
When will we start using
I'm looking at Scott. Scott's setting up a branch office down there with the Real Estate Commission. Then we'll set that up with the board. We'll have that done by hopefully Monday. We'll have it done by Monday.
So after Monday, then we start using that?
After Monday, start using that new branch office. So once we get that set up with the commission, we'll get you all the information on that, okay?
We actually have to move licenses over there too.
We have to move license?
So they're at that office.
We'll move, yeah, so we'll have to transfer some from here to there, or whoever's moving there. The other thing that's been an interesting conversation is, any of you have been sitting in a mastermind group, and I think I even mentioned that once in here, is my greatest fear in merging with the Lincoln MLS is that so many of them are paying out at 2.0. We have no control over what any other company charges commissions and pays out on commissions. They have their own company policies and they can do whatever they want. You know ours. We would like you to get 6% commissions. That's why we'd like you to show value and use AdWorks and stuff like that. But we give you the flexibility to go down to 5% without asking us a question. Pretty much daily, I get a text saying, can I do 4.5 or 4 3/4 or something else? And then I'm like, okay, give me the logic behind this. And it's usually, which makes me happy, well, I'm selling them a more expensive house and this or that. But many times I'm competing against EXP, Nebraska Realty, Keller Williams, quite honestly, and they're offering it at 3.5%, 4%. We're not going to let you go down to 3.5%, 4% and do that. But our company policy has been and will continue to be on all residential homes that you've got to pay out. So if you decide to go from 5 to 5.5 to 5, or 6 to 6, 5.5 to 6, or my God, 6 to 5. How do you spell eggs? From 6 or higher and below, the cuts coming out of the listing side, we're going to continue to pay out 2.4. So I talked to Andy at Nebraska Realty. He says in Lincoln they are paying out at 2.0, but in Omaha that the company policy has continued to be 2.4. EXP had listed something at 2.2, and Keller Williams had something listed at 2.0, and these were like just only $200-some thousand houses. These weren't crazy houses. So I put calls into them also, and basically I've sent out a letter that actually Scott and I put together. Scott drew it up. I reviewed it. We sent it up to lead legal counsel for HomeServices of America. They actually sent it out to their national antitrust attorney, which they believe is the best in the country. And so this letter's, and they think that there's nothing wrong with this letter, so we feel pretty comfortable in our basis of this letter. Keller Williams has since called back and said that 2.0 has been put back up to 2.4 because I gave them 3 options. I said, listen, I can't control what you do. Here's our company policy. Do whatever you want to do. But if you're going to allow your agents to pay out on residential properties less than 2.4, we're going to pay you on every single one of our properties that your agents sell. So when I'm talking to Keller Williams, you sell any of our listings, we're going to pay you 2.0 on every single one of them. Does not matter what's advertised in MLS. So amazing enough, the brokers switched at Keller Williams. I mean,
Very quick.
there was one broker when we started this conversation, and by the time Bud Thompson was the broker that ended up switching to Kurt Meisinger, I think, right by the time we were done.
He quit.
Yeah, he quit over this. After my call, he quit 2 days later. Now that was coincidence, but I think I almost think they liked us making the call because it felt it took pressure off them to go implement a policy. Say, listen, we can't have every. And so I've had a couple agents say, well, if I want to pay that agent 2.4, 2.5, I can do that. And I said, no. Commissions are broker to broker. It defeats the purpose of what I'm attempting to accomplish here. I'm trying to be aligned with you. The extra. If we are advertising at 2.4, the extra 0.4 is going to you on your split. We're not keeping it as a company. So if you're a 100%er, 6% goes to the royalty fee, 94% of it goes to you. If you're an 80%er, you're getting your 80. So this is advantageous to you, but I can't let you undermine what we're doing here and say, well, if I want to pay this agent extra, we can do that. I won't allow that. So Keller Williams has came back and they said that they are changing their company policy and they're not going to pay out under 2.4. They've been put on notice. We've sent a letter out to them. EXP's a little different story. So I've had a couple conversations. They had the agent call me that was doing it. They said, well, I had to take this because there's a divorce situation. I said, you can take it at whatever you want. I said, your company can allow you to pay out whatever you want. I'm just telling you, if they allow you to do this, this is what we're going to do. So right now, I'm going to put a call back into them because I basically gave over 3 options. Regardless of what we advertise in MLS, if you continue to have that company policy, you're going to get 2.0, 2.2, whatever you're allowing your agents to pay out on every single deal. And the EXP lady said, are you telling me if we have 850 listings and one of them is below 2.4, you're going to pay us 2.0 or 2.2 on every single one of those 850 listings? And I'm thinking, I knew, because Jay just pulled for me. In Omaha, they had 19 listings. I'm like, but yes. Her point was more powerful than my point. So she was built. I said, that's what we're going to do. She says, well, that doesn't seem fair. I said, that's just what we're going to do. So she had the agent call me. She called me back. And she said, would you reconsider your position? I said, no. I says, I'm not trying to be unreasonable, but I says, if you're going to allow your agents to pay less than 2.4, which we do not allow on our residential houses, we're going to pay you out on every one of those. I said, you can do one of 3 things. You can keep your company policy, and this is what you're going to get. I said, you can change your company policy, and everything's going to be 2.4 and above. Or I said, if you want to pay out someone else 1.5, 2.0, I don't really care what the number is, and write a letter saying that if a Berkshire Hathaway agent sells it, regardless of what's in MLS, we're going to get 2.4 or what's advertised if it's higher than that. I said, I'm okay with that. I said, but that's the 3 options. And so I need to follow back up with her because the letter I think said effective June 15th on any listings that you have thereafter. The next thing that I need to think through and walk through is that if they go put it in the listing agreement, I'm going to want us to have a conversation. I need to script this over the next week with sellers saying that, listen, you need to counter that back out. That's between broker to broker. They're allowing I've got to walk through this in our head, but let's not let them try to get a seller sucked into that, and I don't want you to get sucked into that. Listen, it is in their best interest. We have 50% of listings in the marketplace. We're not trying to be a bully here, but what we are trying to do is protect the value. Now, there's a burden on this in this process. There's a burden on us to show value, right, to our clients in this process. But I believe that we do that. So it's been an interesting battle. So I guess it depends on your perspective. Jay Kender, who Adam's known for years, I've known for years. He's a national coach and speaker. EXP must have been having a conference, so he sends me a picture of him and the friends saying, why you effing my people? I said, all they got to do is pay us what we want. I don't care what they do with anybody else. And so we had some bannering going back and forth, but obviously they are talking about it. So they've went to their agents and told them, here's what we're going to do. But I think we're being fair and reasonable. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that our interest is aligned with your interest, and we believe it's in your best interest to show value, to give great service, but that we get compensated fairly for that. So I hope everyone's on board with what we're doing here. There's been a whole lot of conversations that have taken place, and I would expect as we continue to move forward, we're going to have more of these conversations. So, but we've already had a fair amount of those. Rachel, hopefully, probably not everyone does know. Berkshire Hathaway, I was the founder of it. It was actually part of my contract when I signed up with them that they had to start a millennial think tank so we could start understanding how to communicate with that generation. How are they seeing the world differently than we do? Adam was on the original one, Megan was on it, and we have Rachel on it. There's 15 agents across the country. No, I guess other than the 2 sisters, no 2 are supposed to be from the same company or the same market. And so we have 3 meetings a year. January at Berkshire Hathaway's headquarters in Irvine, California. We have a mid-year meeting that was in St. Louis this year. And so we're going to have Rachel kind of go away from with her notes of the top takeaways of what are we doing, what are these agents doing. Again, they talked a lot about AdWorks to communicate, to grow their business, and what ideas they have. That we basically just like a mastermind group for 2 days. It's just ideas sharing, collaborating, things like that. So you want to walk through your notes and some takeaways, and then if you have any questions or thoughts for me in that process, answer or ask.
Sure. So the focus of this meeting was just really showing value to our clients in a different way, because as Vince said, the biggest issue in our industry is downward pressure on commissions. And I think they even said the average commission across the country is 2.3%.
It's keep going, it's right, it's going down. Now that's one side, but it's continued to go down basically every year over the last 4 or 5 years.
And so we kind of had two main things that we were focusing on for this meeting. The first was marketing plan and the budget that's associated with that. And then the second day, we talked about concierge service. So basically, kind of how we organize these meetings is Berkshire Hathaway will present some ideas. They give us homework to come prepared for the meeting. So it kind of goes round robin to each person. They say what they're doing, some kind of unique ideas. I mean, there's the basic things that we all do, but the things that I pulled out of the meeting are items that people are doing different that I thought maybe could help you implement these things into your business. So a lot of the people on this group are focusing on client events. And one thing that we talked about is that you have to be in front of your client in so many different ways. One form of communication is not enough. So calling them, texting them, being present on social media, doing direct mailers, doing client appreciation parties, I think has been really a big thing that people have been focusing on.
And I don't think we have Troy or Jeff or Adam or Tosh in this room right now, do we? But what is crazy to me, and we talked a little bit about it, is the evolution over the last 2 to 3 years. 3 years ago, pretty much 90% of this council was spending an obscene amount of money on online lead generation, on Realtor.com, on Zillow, on those type of things. This meeting, it was basically nobody outside of some small dollars being spent on it was focusing on it. 100% of this group's focus really was, and remember these are all younger people, was all based on building and nurturing relationships with their database through CRM systems. And they all had CRM systems that they had set up. So it was really, it's been an evolution and a shift of online lead generation. That's our focus. We're going to dump money in there. That's where our leads are going to come to. Back to the core of what this business has been for the last 40 years, which is we're in the relationship building business and we're going to do it. And this group has evolved. A lot of them were not doing client appreciation parties when they started this group, and they've all basically bought into that and embraced that concept. So,
So some ideas of the events that some of these people are doing. One, Lori was doing, she does a lot of events, which I don't know that everyone could keep up with that. But one of her really cool events was the garage sale. So yeah, that's the right picture. So she basically markets a lot to her own neighborhood. And so she worked out with her HOA to allow her to do this massive garage sale for her subdivision. So they create maps like this. All those little dots are what houses have the garage sale. And then she has tons of signs that are branded to her team that they do a major social media push like for a month and a half before the garage sale, and then they allow her to put up several signs that are branded to her. So I thought that was a really good idea. And all of these are garage spots? Yeah.
So there was over 50 houses in this subdivision that did a garage sale, and she got a 3-year exclusive with her homeowner association to be the person to sponsor and brand this. So I thought that was pretty cool, but the buy-in and exposure she got out of it was unbelievable.
And she does a lot with her neighborhood. Like she'll put up a tent, in their park area and do an ice cream social once a year. She does all sorts. She'll do things for charity, pop by, drop things off for Goodwill or whatever. So she really has mastered farming to a next level. So for those of you that are farming areas, that's kind of a neat. She's also the one that created a Facebook group that she kind of runs the Facebook group for the neighborhood. So it'd be like next door, but just on Facebook. So anytime someone new comes into the neighborhood, she adds them. And then she promotes not only her listings, but the other listings in the neighborhood. So she's really mastered that idea of owning your neighborhood. One of the other guys, Andy Blake, he does a dumpster day. So he has 4 dumpsters dropped off in the office parking lot. Anyone of his past clients, center of influence, or anyone in his network can come and drop things off. I thought that was a nice idea. He said it cost him like $1,000 to do that. and everyone has junk that they want to get rid of, so just kind of a good idea. He also used to do paint, where you could come drop off all your paint, but I think he had to stop doing that because the city was getting a little overwhelmed with
And then
that.
Andy here, did you want to touch on this? The
Yeah.
box that he has?
So one of his, he has about 10 people on his team, and one of his teammates created this. I thought that was a really cute idea. It's a box that's branded to the group, and it says your new adventure starts by opening this box, so he puts the key in it. So I thought that was just kind of a cool idea for a closing gift. Another one,
Do you think it's good to have the key to get in the house that you just sold him?
one of the gals will do like a day at the zoo. So a lot of these people are saying, you know, anything that you do for people's kids, they really, really appreciate. And so I guess it depends on your demographic of who your clients are, but doing a day at the zoo where you pay for them to get in and you have like a little area for them to come and say hi. Casino night, one of the gals did a big casino night. Kat, who's out of Santa Barbara, said she'll use like one of her high-end listings as a networking event. So she has a really strong referral base with attorneys, different people that refer her business. So when she has a really neat listing, she'll do like a sip and see networking event with those clients, just so that she's always staying top of mind. Like, wow, remember that house that we had that event at with Kat? She, you know, sells really high-end listings. So just kind of being that person in the people's mind, and I think taking them to a really cool house is a great way to do that.
Right, and so I mean, I think this works primarily on upper-end houses, but her sellers are buying into this because they're like, listen, these people that I'm networking with may know other people that are interested. So, you know, I'm going to obviously network to the real estate industry, but why would we not real estate market to the business market also? So it's a dual capacity for her to show something different to her sellers, but also to continue to network to her partners and show them, and it allows you to kind of showcase, here's some business I'm doing. So I love that idea on the upper end stuff.
Andy also, he has all of his team members who have spouses who work. He will cater lunch into their work, I think like twice a year or something. So just being top of mind for for the spouse's workplace.
And then they asked him if he does that for his spouse, and he said no. He said, maybe I should start that. Shannon's shaking her head,
Some of the ladies are doing like a wine night or a spa night, which I thought was a really good idea because some of the lenders in this area are doing like spa days or free pedicures, and I always love going to that. So one of the gals was doing like back to school relaxation night. So she just rents out a spa, negotiates a deal with them, and then it's not for all of her clients. I think she said she invites 40 to 50 people, and then probably half of them come, but it's just a nice gesture of, hey, come have a massage on me or a pedicure, manicure, just as a treat for referring lots of business and being a great past client.
There was a couple people that did smaller group things, and they said, you know, obviously on those things, you've got to use some common sense. They don't go out and do a social media blitz if they're only inviting 25 of their clients to those type of things. So those type of things are more private, intimate things, which is different than some of the other things you may be doing where you're blitzing that out to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Only for your A clients.
Yes.
I think that pretty much covers the events other than what we've talked about before.
Right. They're doing a lot of movies. A lot of people doing
Yeah.
movies.
I think that's a big one, and so yeah, that's. Anything else?
Yes, Dave.
Dumpster day, did he have time of year when he did that?
I think so. He's in Kansas City, so probably it would be sometime when there's not snow on the ground. But he didn't give an exact time. I would say spring cleaning would probably be a good time to do it when people are wanting to get their stuff out and just are in that mode of cleaning everything up. Okay, so a few other things like on the marketing plans, a lot of these agents are doing on their high-end listings lifestyle videos. And I wish I could probably send out an example of Josh
Yep.
Stevens that he had, but I don't think I don't know of anyone in Omaha who does these.
I don't either.
You do.
We did one on Skyline.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. Nico did it. We had Maseratis, and we hired a couple actors. They pretend like they lived there, they cooked in the kitchen, and said this lifestyle for years. And that, we actually think that helps out.
Yeah, absolutely. And these agents, I think the average of what they were paying was between $650 to $1,000. Their price ranges are a little different. They're, this would be
Right.
on like a $3 million house, but I still think if you could find someone to do it for that price, for $600 on a, 700 plus listing. Yeah,
Yeah, we'd love to do that. And we'll pull a couple. We in the past have shown some of those, Brooke. It's been about 4 or 5 years ago. There was like that company, and there was someone in Beverly Hills that did one, and they'd roll in. I mean, so let's try to find some of those. But I mean, those really are effective on an upper end property. And again, it shows value if you're going to spend that type of money, even if it's $1,000, to go out and get this video to your seller in that process that you're really trying to market it for them.
did you have a videographer do it, or who?
It's all done professional.
Yeah.
His name was Nico.
A producer. It was his idea.
So some of the TMP or TPMCO is a service that does monthly newsletters, and I think it was around $2,000 a year. There were 3 or 4 people using it because it's totally automated, and so that was one thing that a lot of them were using. A lot of these people are doing as one of their mailers tax valuation letters, so saying, if you need help fighting your taxes, give me a call. I'm happy to help you with that. Kat does a letter of the heart, which is where she tells a story about one of her listings or something that's going on. She said sometimes it's funny stories, sometimes it's really sentimental, like if she had a seller that had lived there for 50 years. So she said that people actually reach out to her and say, oh my gosh, I got your letter, I was crying. It's handwritten, and then she just makes copies and sends it out to her past clients. With AdWorks, a lot of the agents were designing their ads on Canva. And I haven't had a chance to check that out, but they say it's super easy to design it to make it look different than the other ads in their marketplace. So you may want to check that out. And then you can upload it directly to AdWorks and push it out just as you would any other ad. The vendor book came up again. So Andy Blake does this, and he has a RESPA clause in there just to cover, but he sends that out to all of his past clients. And I think that the money that he gets from the vendors who advertise in it pays for, I want to say he said about half of his advertising or marketing budget.
Yeah.
So that's a huge one to help pay for the marketing. One of the gals sponsors her kids' teams, so I think that's always a good exposure. And then the sisters they found this website where you can put like one of those little echo dots in the house. So if it's...
This was cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. There's a website called voiceflow.com. So what you can do is put a little dot in the house, and then you put a sign next to it that says whatever the prompt is. So, hey Alexa, tell me more about 123 Main Street. And then it can either be in Alexa's voice or in your own voice, a description of the property. And so I thought that was kind of a cool, unique idea that I had never heard of before. So they actually transcribe what they want, or they record it, and then she said they can do several prompts. So
Right.
it'd be like, this house is a blah, 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 blah. Do you want to know more? And they can say yes, and then it can go on and on. So I thought that was a really great way to show the sellers, like, hey, we can't control what the buyer agent says, but we can at least get them to talk to this dot, and we can put our description of the house. So that was a really unique idea. So voiceflow.com. And she said you can order those on Amazon for like $30 a dot. Yeah. One of the gals, when her clients when they are moving, whatever moving day is, she'll bring over beer, pizza, and like a basket full of necessities that you wouldn't think of. So like toilet paper, paper towels, hand soap. I thought that was kind of a nice idea. And then Vanessa she will get their birthdays of the clients and the birthdays of their kids on their first meeting. And then she sends a birthday card to not only the client, but their kids every year.
And everyone loves it.
Yeah, she said that people reach out. They love when they get the birthday card for their kid. For the mail, a lot of these people are doing direct mail or mailers. I would say most of them are doing it at minimum every quarter. Some people are mailing monthly. But one of the things that they're doing is like a free ice cream cone or a free coffee. They say that people love that, and they actually get a lot of people that will go and turn those in.
And a number of those people were doing everyday direct, Maggie? Yeah, which got them odd sizes postcards, and you got to deliver a certain number. You can't get a specific, you can't say I want to deliver to this 127 in this neighborhood, so it's a broader thing than that, but per card it's cheaper, and it gave you some flexibility, so the marketing department can do some of those.
Yeah, Andy Blake was doing really nice marketing pieces, and he said they were 50 cents a
Right.
piece just to mail them and to create them. So it's actually a lot cheaper than you'd think. Kristen, so she does a video before, so she gets a new client, she'll call them, pre-qualify them, and then she'll actually send a video of herself from bombbomb.com that just says, "Hi, this is Kristen. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm really excited for our meeting on Friday at noon. Looking forward to, working with you on the sale of your home." And she said that that really sets her apart, especially when competing, because no one does that. So she really swears by videos, and she's really good at that. And then she's also doing voice texts for birthdays for her clients. So instead of just sending out a text message or calling, she said that people are like, "No one did that. No one voice texted me." So that's kind of
I think when she's sending them out to the seller or someone she's been referred to, she even says hi and writes their name on a card. If I'm mistaken, she personalized it with them to connect with some way.
Yep. And the house anniversary card, that's pretty, I think, did you have anything to add on that? One thing that we talked about was page transparency on Facebook. And so I had never heard of this, but you can actually, when you run an ad and you boost it, you can go in and see what other ads are similar to yours and how your ad is competing with that ad. So that was really interesting.
Well, actually, they said even on a listing appointment, right? If you're talking about promoting something on a listing presentation, you can go right to that person's page. Now, you better know in advance what you're going to get, because if they're doing a lot, this may backfire on you. But if you feel like you're really aggressive on what you're doing from an advertising or Facebook thing, you can go right in there and say, okay, they say they're doing this, but are they getting exposure? And you can go right in there and plug in there, and it gives you all of the analytics on it.
This is how many engagements I have versus this is how many engagements the competition has. So it's really kind of a good tool. I didn't know you could look at how other people's ads perform, but you can through Facebook ad transparency.
Tabitha, Maggie, can you guys maybe look into this and help us maybe?
It's right on the business page. There's a link, it says Facebook page transparency, and you can click and see all the history, the ads you ran versus anybody. Like, I went on to KTV's to see what they're boosting, and you can see all the stories they're boosting and things like that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that you can see that.
So people that are doing wellness are going to obviously use this against others that are not. So you've got to be cognizant of this stuff.
When we got into talking about the concierge service, Brooke, can you pull up the checklist, or this is the checklist? So one of the girls, and Brooke's gonna pull up the thing, she does 3 different, basically listing plans, so you can choose which plan you want. And she's in Denver's market, so her pricing structure is a little bit different, but it was like 6.1%, and it's all the check marks.
Get us to the top of the page there. So 5.5, 5.8, or 6.1, and then kind of go to the bottom if you could. So then as you get to the bottom, it really talks about, on the right-hand side, here's the things that we're going to do as a concierge service. Professional organizers, landscaping cleanup, virtual tours, post-move-out cleaning. I mean, really, truly what we've been talking a lot about, which is this concierge services of value-added things that you're going to do. And so I thought this was interesting to have a menu of services. And again, it wasn't 6, 5, 5, 5, or 4, 5. You know, the lowest number there is 5.5%.
And she says most people pick the middle column.
Most
and
people
that's
pick
what
the
she's-
5.8.
That's what she's targeting. So maybe if you were targeting 6, you'd have 6.5, 6, and then 5.5. But this was really interesting because she's doing a lot of things on the bottom that most agents don't do. So pre-post listing handyman work, landscaping cleanup, post move out cleaning. I mean, those are professional pre-listing
She paid for that?
cleaning.
She
Yeah.
pays for that as part of the
If-
6.1. She's got average sales price there of 400,000.
Yeah, because that,
So, you know, it's showing value.
Will you send out a copy of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that agent's name that does that list?
Katressa Sweetwood. And I can send it to you too.
Well, we have these, so we can send these type of things out.
Yeah, and along with this, so this was her packet that she gave to our group. She defines everything on the front page. So if a client doesn't know what some of these things are, she defines, this is what you get if you pick this package. So she really focuses on, I don't want to have someone beating me up on commission. I don't want them trying to get it down. So this is how I handle it. It's 3 options. You pick which one you want. So I thought that was kind of a unique way to do it, and I've never seen anyone do it like this. So
Yeah.
yeah, she breaks it down to everything. So I think that pretty much covers.
Any questions? I mean, we're there for 2 full days, and it's pretty. I mean, it's
intense.
It's intense. It is full speed, going ahead, type of conversations. I wish we had more people in these type of meetings because every one of us, I think, can pick up ideas. We will share a lot of our takeaways. We're getting some papers from Berkshire Hathaway. We'll send out to you. Run through those. Pick out an idea or two that's something that you're not doing that you think is cool that can help, help your listing presentation. That can help you increase your database and the reach to them, and then incorporate those type of things into your meetings. But Rachel, let's give her a big hand for her help. Good guy, and then I want to talk about, we are going to do a, as he's walking up here, we are going to do, what's the date on the builder extravagant? So July 13th and 14th, we're going to have a company-wide builder blitz, where for the weekend, that Saturday and Sunday, we're going to have all the new construction houses that anybody wants to participate in open. I think we decided 1 to 4, and if people wanted to expand that more, they could. So we're going to start marketing that through social media. We'll get that in the paper. So we'll put that plan together here over the next week, but that's only a month out, so we need to get focused on doing that. So anybody that's setting new construction or has a builder that wants to participate, and the ideal situation is that we get everybody to participate. We really want to make a big thing of this to draw some attention there, which I think should be a good thing, honestly, for those of you who have a builder. Builders, I think, should be happy that we're trying to do something like this to drive traffic to their properties.
I got started in real estate 6 years ago, and I've had tons and tons of people in this room help me out and take all kinds of extra time that they didn't have to teach me stuff or school me while we were working each side of a deal. And I've made a lot of really good friends. And this agent was someone that I met through doing through some referrals and needed help with, and they really didn't have a lot of reason to take as much time as they did with me, and they taught me about how they had done business years and years before me, and how they had they developed this extreme.
This is going to be an old person.
Well, they're not. No, they're really not. No, they're wise.
Wise.
Yeah, and they'd really spent a lot of time building this service orientation about them, and it was much different than my automation and just turn a system that'll produce, and so we got to play ideas back and forth and talk about what it would look like to run teams and mentor other people, and so there was a lot of stuff I could learn, and I truly have been humbled by watching this person's success and watching the degree of care. I've been invited to barbecues and got to see them interact with their kids and their family and her husband, and really over the years has just become a great friend. So this Good Guy Award goes to Jennifer Morgan. don't see
Is
it.
Jennifer here? When you see Jennifer, congratulate her. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We are out of time here, guys. Next sales meeting, we'll promote it to death. Next sales meeting is in 2 weeks?
Yes.
The 26th?
The 25th.
The 25th. And then we won't have one over the 4th of July weekend, obviously both sides of that. We won't have one. So let's try to get people here. Guys, the market is hot. We did, last month, we did 1,374 new pending transactions. The goal was 1,400. Our goal is 1,400 again. So the numbers, you guys are, right now, the numbers are still continuing to come in hot. There's the lower end market seems to be crazy hot. The upper end market seems to be crazy hot. But the bottom line at the end of the day is no matter how busy you get, do not stop prospecting. Fred, 1 second, then we're out of here.
I want to present Vince my new edition of my book. You know, Vince has been very instrumental in helping me, encouraging me. So I just want to thank Vince for his help.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Fred's quote by me, Fred's wisdom, understanding, and experience of how to help investors prepare for their future is second to none. Did I write that or did you write that?
You did.
I did write that. Read Fred's book. Guys, have a great day. Thank you.